Hi crafters! Today we're going to be finishing off my Hunter Star quilt. As you can see, it's all put together and it has borders and it has this corner that looks fantastic. I love this corner. But I have to cut this and replace it, and I have to do every other corner. Every other corner! Now I get to put my hair up because it's hot. I've been constructing this quilt probably for like over a year. Oh no, coming up to a year, because I finished my Halloween quilt around October last year.
That's right.
Yeah, and then I started on this one, and it was a case of I cut out all of this garden flower fabric and that was fine. And then I put it away and couldn't decide on other fabrics, and eventually I decided on the other two fabrics that you can see here and put it all together, and then needed to cut more because I wanted to make it bigger, so I had to cut all of it again and put it together and then cut some more because I was one short.
Who makes that purple fabric?
I don't know, I said it in my haul video, it's a Mika high tea collection. Mika high tea, so Mika's M-I-K-A, high tea. Eventually we got it all sewn together, and then it came to the issue of what did I want to do for a border? And I decided, hey, I'll just take these two fabrics and this pink one that goes with them real well because it's part of the same collection, or it's a different collection but it might as well be the same, and put it together, and then I can use this pink stuff as the backing, which I am going to use. I have like 5 meters of it over there on the ironing board because I don't have much of it here. I was like, what am I going to do for the corners? Oh, I'll just miter the corners, except I didn't leave enough fabric to miter the corners. I have a couple of cut-offs here. Here's one of them, and here's another one. Sewed all 3 strips together and then sewed it to the quilt so that it was a border. And after I'd done that, I realized that I had made the biggest mistake possible, and I should have left more fabric. I sewed them all together like you'd sew a bias, so it has the angles in it just because I like them. Then after I realized that, I made this. This was great. I used a scrap square of 2 like dark triangles, cut them down to be 4-inch square. Everything was perfect until I tried to recreate it. It was too small, and I don't know what happened. Every time I tried to recreate it, which I have a couple of them here, it just did not end up right. Or I messed it up completely. What sign language were you doing on?
She did lots of tears.
The other problem I found after it had all been sewn together, this one somewhere here goes up, so it wasn't actually sewn together properly, and if I wanted to sew it together I would have had a big dip in my fabric. There's a hole right here, and I'm torn on how to fix it. Like, do I unsew the entire thing? Do I go back to say here, do a new miter, and then sew that whole new strip on? Because there's just going to be no way. It was cut incorrectly. There's going to be no way to fix this. You can kind of see it here. There's going to be no way to really fix this without redoing this piece. I'm not against that. I just don't really want to do it. But I'm going to. I'll do it. I'll put on my big girl panties and I'll do it. Okay? Okay. I unpicked it down to here, and then I can just redo the miter, which is here, have an actual length that's good, and re-sew it together. But that's why Mum's here. She gets to do the sewing today because I'm lazy. And I might chuck a hissy fit again. Oh, and if you hear any vinyl scratches, it's because I swear Mum said I'm not allowed to swear on video.
I'm not this short, by the way. I am sitting down.
No, you're that short. I need to cut 6 inches. All these are 2, 4 and 6 inches. 2.5, 4.5, 6.5 sewn together. But ultimately 2, 4, 6. So I need to cut 6 meters of that. 6 inches of that, and then I inverted the way that they run for the actual square, so I need to recreate that. But thankfully I did the math last time I tried to record this, and then I didn't cut anything, and then I shoved it away. So I need to cut a 3-inch fit of the floral fabric, still 4.5 and 6.5 inch for the other ones.
Or was it 3.5? So you come down.
I don't know. No,
it's 3.
3. I'm pretty sure. If not, I'll just cut and you get to sew it together.
I'm so lucky.
I already pressed or ironed all the fabric, and I have a teeny piece of the purple here. I went and bought a meter of each of the 2 fabrics again because I'm pretty sure this isn't going to finish all the corners, and I have to cut 6 inches. Ooh, bring the little circular chair.
My arms are not that long.
If I kneel on this teeny chair, then I'm tall enough to be in front. Okay, so what I'm going to do is line this up on the board.
You spin me right round, baby, right.
What I'm going to do is, we have this straight edge, so easy. I guess it would just be like a sort of guillotine, but with a roller.
We have fallen in love with it.
I have my scrap box here, so I'm not just chucking it on the ground this time. The thing I want to do is line this up to be 6 inches. Oh, it's 6.5 inches. That's right.
No, that's 6 inches, that one.
Yeah, but I need 6.5. It's so good that we have like 3 of these Al Summit rulers, and they're my favourite. They have always been my favourite.
They're made by So Easy as well.
We had one from years ago when we were doing scrapbooking, and we were using that, and they finally brought them back into production. Okay, that lines up in both pots for 6.5.
That's the one thing we do find with this. You need to have a bit of an overlap at the end, so your rotary blade will go all the way. On the ruler itself, if you make sure you're on that first grid line, past here, you'll be right.
I just made sure it was straight, I didn't care.
No.
I don't like using the actual board. Oh no, I feel like it went a little bit weird. Screw it. I used this one because I've had too many issues with cutting this fabric already.
Probably because it's been ironed so many times, the weave itself is out of alignment.
I'm employing the same rule with a different ruler now.
That's a 6.5 inch wide ruler.
Yeah, but I like my little ruler. And I don't like cutting with my left hand.
Cassie likes to reinvent the wheel, which is quite good sometimes.
Come on then. I can't get out past her. Mum just has to re-iron the strip because I didn't iron the actual strip. I ironed everything else. It's a big quilt. I forget things. What you need to do is pretty much do what you do for every mitered corner.
So before she cuts it, I'd like to show you. There's diamond shaping in this fabric. That's why she chose to do the mitered corner. Because if we had done a straight joint, a little bit hard to match up the fabrics, but by going on the miter with the diamonds,
Diagonal.
that seam is virtually invisible.
So I know where it is. Just because I don't want the selvage. And to get the best miter, you have to not have a selvage. Right angles of everything.
So this one you're not going to fussy cut to the same pattern?
No, I didn't with any of the others.
Okay.
Because I got so over this, I did consider fussy cutting a lot of things and sewing them together so they all matched. But after a few months, you get over it. And also I didn't fussy cut most things. Or I was like, I'll match them up, and then, no. I've cut the selvage so that I have a straight edge to line it up with. It doesn't really matter all that much, but I want to make sure that it looks kind of presentable.
That's not going to work that way. You're going to go down.
Got okay. Couple pins. Do you need me to draw a line?
No.
My mum knows how to draw a straight. There's so a straight diagonal line, so that shouldn't be a problem.
Like a drunk man walking home.
I like to snip off the start and the end, because otherwise you get to doing anything else and then you have to snip off the start and the end anyway. I'm going to give it a 1/4 inch on that seam so that everything else is a 1/4 inch. That's really my only reasoning, is everything else is a 1/4 inch, so the seam here has to be a 1/4 inch as well. You picked it up.
I did too. Draw me a line.
Do you need me to draw a line?
No. No.
It's so hard doing this attached to the quilt just because it's a lot of manoeuvring, but it's not really that much of a pen. This pen is an actual pen and not a wash-offable pen, but it's purple, so it won't come up being on the wrong sides. You try to do things the wrong way and it fucks you up every time.
Cassie doesn't like me using the cutter on the edge. She just feels it pulls her cotton when it's getting cut.
Sewn together, as you can see, and now Mum gets to sew it back together again because I refuse to do it. I could start cutting my strips right now, but the quilt's just that little bit too big to be sewing and cutting at the same time. Putting a pin here or there because it's not really that important, and she might not be able to do a diagonal line by hand, but she can pull a 1/4 inch seam by hand.
So
FYI. No, because you can't do a diagonal.
Must have.
This is our old pin jar that Mum's used for decades.
My mother-in-law gave me that.
It's magnetic at the top, so you can just, and you have your pins.
It must be as old as Cassie is.
But that can be where the pins go for things that don't matter. Or for padding.
That's our broken ones. I've just got a hole in the top, so we know they're no good. No one will get pricked with that.
That's not fun. There you go, sewing sleeve. I get to sit down again. That's done. I don't have a random hole that I have to get rid of, and it molds in well. I'll try to hold it up so you can see. Actually, that's probably better. You can hardly see it, although it does line up with the other miter down here. It's just an inch off. But is that really a problem? I don't think so.
It was 12 months ago.
Yeah. No, I don't need that. I will like line up the cut later, but we have to do the triangles. What we're gonna do is I'm going to cut 4.5 inches of this fabric, 4.5 inches of this fabric. No, 4.5, 6.5, and probably 3 inches for the first test run, just to make sure it does create a box and make it to show. Sew a triangle together to make sure. And that's just going to be a fast forward for you.
Have you got some scrap over there that we could do that with? How do you find cutting back towards yourself? I never do it. I always cut away. How do you cut yours? Do you cut towards you or away from you?
I feel like I have more control cutting back than I do going forward, because you can keep more of an even consistency.
We might do that as a test run one day. See if it makes a difference at all. I guess if you're on one of those projects where you're going to get a bit wobbly and move the end, it might be a good idea to start there and come back at yourself.
It doesn't have to be prettily cut for this, because this is just a tester. And just giving it a 1/4 inch seam for now.
A 3-inch square.
I'm about 3/4 way.
But that's okay, because you can cut it shorter.
No, because I sew all 3 together and then do it. But last time I sewed did a 2.25 inch seam, a 2.5 inch seam, well, strip, didn't sew properly. It's ended up being too small.
Because that's going to come down to a 2-inch square.
How?
When the 1/4 inches all around go.
No, it's going to be a 2.5 inch square.
No, it's not. Oh, yeah, it might be.
And then it'll ultimately be 2/4. Yeah, see, this one's a 2-inch square because the strips are 2 inches. Yeah. But I cut one being 2.5 inches and it didn't work. But it did for the 3 inches, so it doesn't make sense. Because I swear every other time I've tried to do this with the 2.5 inch strip, it just hasn't worked. Then why didn't it work when I first did it? Because that's how I got the first messed up square.
Maybe it was the person who did the measuring.
It could have been. Okay, so we'll do an actual test one, seeing as our 2 test squares are fine. I'm going to do 2.5 inch strip of this, 4.5 and 6.5, and it's just going to be sped up because I want to turn on the fan, and the audio is terrible when the fan's on, but we'll see you when we're done with that. Or we'll talk to you again when we're done with that. I don't know. Mom, please turn on the fan and open the doors. I made sure to put all the pieces front faces together so that Mum can sew them, being that it only needs a 1/4 inch seam and it's a straight thing. She doesn't need any pinning for them and it'll just be a hassle. You can pin it, but I find sometimes it just slows you down.
It's easy just when they're straight seams to lie them. And because our table's quite high, I just let it hang naturally, and that way there's no distortion and it just sits one on top of the other.
The reason I've had so much difficulty with cutting these squares is because the first one was made up of me cutting the smaller square and then putting the other 2 lengths onto it rather than cutting them both as a big block, which is what we're going to attempt to do now. This is a couple of hours later because the battery ran out and we decided that meant we had to take a break, and then we ended up going to Spotlight. It's Mum's fault.
Needed more fabric. Don't have enough.
I'm just cutting the ends off these bits so that it is all in a line because I didn't cut them to be the same length. I've noticed that somehow you sew fabric together, you think it would be the same length, but it rarely is.
That amazes me.
Yep, I went off. You can't see it, but we do have a fantastic camera girl today. Her name's Tifa, and she's 5 years old? 6 years old. She's a Rottweiler. But she's decided that our other dog, a Mastiff, is out playing junkyard with Pop, and she's in here being junkyard with Mum and Cass. And my other half's watching video games. This is a fun triangle because I refuse to use any of the other rulers for the degrees. Because this ruler isn't big enough, I'm just going to butt up another ruler, move it up, like so. So it's a continuous line and it's in the same spot.
That's really clever.
I'm pretty sure John Fabric showed me that.
How many corners do we have to make?
3.
I know it might have seemed a silly question, but I wasn't sure how many were on the quilt already.
Sometimes it's easier to just take it slow with the pinning so that you don't need to pin later or, you know, unstitch everything and restitch it. Mum just brought up something that I hadn't thought about doing, which is giving her cutting it an inch off or something, just so she has less bulk to work with.
We're really fussy on how our seams line up. We don't like rough enough's good enough. It's just one of our personal preferences. One of my quilts I'm going to try and maybe do a tack stitch instead of relying on the pins. Does anyone tack stitch out there? Drop us a message and let us know. Comment.
I hope you can see this. I'm going to zoom it in probably for you. I don't know. Anyway, so this is all sewn together. Mum's going to stitch along this line so that when we open it, it's a square. Pretty sure that's how it worked last time. Hopefully it's not going to be fucked up.
No swearing!
I have a scratch over it. God. She's decided she's repinning it. It depends on the quilt on which one of us is better with the seam work. For this quilt that we're working on, Mum did a lot of the pinning for me and I did most of the sewing. Because for some reason I was having issues on this hunter star with pinning them correctly. But when Mum made a hunter star, I pinned all hers and it worked out perfect. It just depends on the quilt. I think for my Halloween one I pinned everything myself. I was like, yeah, I could do it by myself or I could force my mother to help me and it's slave labour because she's benefited from child labour, so why don't I get to benefit?
Teach your daughter to sew, they said. You'll have fun, they said.
I'm also planning to make a square pillow with the scraps from this border process that I've been doing.
It's this line my side, isn't it?
Yep. This is Mum's old, like really old 60.
Cassie never likes it when I use the little cutter on the side. She says it pulls the cotton. I have to snip. Drum roll.
Finally! It's 2 1/4. 4. And 6 1/4.
Yay!
It's worked! Now we just get to do this over.
How are
and
our
over and over
seams?
again. I didn't look at that. Good enough.
Yeah, we're happy with that.
There's some seam work where you're like, oh no, I have to pull that out. Another seam work where you're like, it's less than a mil.
We can get rid of that when we quilt in the ditch. Stitch in the ditch. I love the pattern in this fabric. Gives like a suede look. I really like it.
So you can see here, if I just left these off, this would be a lot of wastage. But if I turn it into a pillow, I'm not wasting it. I don't feel as bad. I just want to see how many triangles we can get out of this one piece, or if we do have to sew another strip onto those two. So this is going to be right on if I'm going to be able to use this piece or cut another one, because I don't know how far this square is going to end up being out of this little piece of fabric. Perfect! There's just a little tiny bit left that is pretty much what I'm leaving on the seams. For Mum sews this last one, I'm going to go iron these two. Actually, I'm going to cut them down so that they're only a quarter in. I just had the instant thought of, am I cutting it on the right side?
We don't want to make that mistake.
I can't squeeze past if I go behind it because of the way the back of the chair sits, but I can go between Mum and the chair. All these squares are finally done. Oh. Tifa, I'm recording here. Apparently I'm boring her or disrupting her sleep. One of them, we don't know. Yeah, so we've got all three done. Now it's time to bloody do this to them. You understand? Just sew them in. It's fine. And match up all these seams. Okay, let's go.
Oh, I've got a headache.
No, you don't.
Oh, my eyes are hurting.
Here's a corner and a square.
You need to neaten that corner so I can fit it in.
I was hiding. This is acceptable?
It's gonna be.
Okay, now you just have two more corners to go. Have I ever asked too much of you, Mum? Have I ever forced you to sew my quilt together? I swear, I do so much for you and I get nothing in return. You didn't carry me for 9 months or anything.
That's right.
I still can't believe that you asked me to cut my own quilt.
I know, rude, hey?
So rude. What am I even paying you for?
You're not.
Oh. This is harder than it looks.
A smidge off.
Show me. That's okay.
Yay!
I won't make you fix this one. Because while I'm close to the camera, you can see it's not really noticeable. A trained eye would see that this and this don't match up, but
considering the
I don't care.
state, it was pretty stretched and I had to manipulate quite a bit of it to get it to fit in. Well,
let's do
crafters,
an overview.
I'm going to have dinner and I will leave you with Cassie.
And I'll try and lay it out somewhere where you can see it in its entirety. Oh, I was in the way. I was in the way.
Oh well. Moment's lost. Show your mother some sugar.
Thank you. Slave. So finally we have 1, 2. Ugh, this is the long side. 3. And, oh god, Mum, you forgot one.
No, I didn't.
Let's get this bad boy lighter. I want to kind of put it on the wall, but I can't get a full shot of it on the wall because of the table. So try the floor. We'll see where this will fit because it's
Big.
Let's just drop this on the floor. Can you angle that and walk backwards? And angle it up so that just angle it up so they can see my head. Okay, ready? That's touching the floor. I'm 175 centimeters, so like a 5'9", 5'10", I don't know. And then
Looks fantastic.
that's touching the floor. It's big. So big. Let's see. While I'm working this out, you can have a view of the other side of the quilting room. Or sewing room. Well, it's mainly used for quilting at the moment. I think this is the best view I'm gonna get. Also, you're on the table. It's a finished quilt. It's gonna completely cover my bed. I could use it as a rug. I've literally had to shove like the ironing board to the side, the chairs away, just so it would fit here. Oh my god, I can't believe it's done. Thanks for watching me and Mum finish the corners of my Hunter Star. I am just so happy it is finally done. It has taken a year of work and a lot of delays and procrastination to get it done, and then mistakes where I've had to fix it, and thank god the corner idea came to me or I was screwed. The thing that I do like about the corners is it's a continuous strip of the middle fabric all the way around, and the corners are like, I know, it just makes it interesting. I tend to get bored, especially with a lot of straight borders, but I wasn't going to do any more work than piecing all these little stars together. I hope it looks okay to you guys up there because it looks fabulous to me. All done. I'm gonna take a nap. You can go. I'll be here. While I've got it all stretched out on one surface, I might make sure I have enough batting and backing fabric for it. I wasn't lying when I said I have 5 meters of this, but I think I should be good. At this rate, I might have just enough. Thanks for joining us today. Let me know in the comments, have you ever run into a problem like this where you've had to do a surprise border or corners to fix your mistakes? Or are you someone that plans and follows patterns and instructions and actually listens to things? Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more. I'm probably going to film backing and the bias of this quilt real quickly when I do them, and I will be making a pillow out of the scraps. But first, how to make this work across the entire quilt. Like, I could buy more, but I also want to find out if I have enough, and if I don't, what can I do to make it be enough? I'm pretty sure I can just put like a stripe or something, but we'll see how it turns out. Catch you guys next time. I'm gonna have a nap right now. Bye.